I think it's just a bunch of malarkey. This is the day where it goes from malarkey to actually an investable asset. Is that right?
You could make that case. The pushback to that would be if you really wanted crypto exposure right now, you've had a myriad of ways to do that. I mean, we have Bitcoin futures ETFs, but you're right in saying that this is a watershed moment for the crypto industry and also for the ETF industry. I mean, this has been attempted in some form since 2013, so it's been a long time coming. It's been a very long road to get here.
How does the actual money transact? Do they need new money to go in, or just say a BlackRock? I'm just picking someone big and ugly, but do they have a pool of money that at 10:02, when Alex Steele says, hey, it's official, the money's there right now? How's that work?
So the way a typical ETF launch would work is that someone like BlackRock would precede the fund. So the assets that you see, yes, exactly.
S-E-E-D, got it.
Yeah, they'll put some money in before the launch to make it look a little bit better. So the assets that you see, if it starts trading on Thursday, the assets that you see on Friday might not necessarily be all organic. What will be really interesting to watch is the trading volume. That's a much better measure in the first few days of how much actual interest there is in these funds.
Why has the SEC dragged its feet on this decision? Can we get into that just a little bit more? What's the explanation that we've had so far?
The explanation is that repeatedly they've said that, you know, this crypto industry, this crypto market, it's open to fraud, to manipulation. Of course, the irony there is that it was the SEC Twitter account that was hacked. A few people have made that comparison, to put it lightly. But the fact that they allowed the Bitcoin futures ETFs to launch in October 2021 sort of took the legs out of their argument, and that was the basis of Grayscale suing the SEC. Remember, they had applied to convert their Bitcoin trust into a spot Bitcoin ETF. They were denied. They sued the SEC. They won that lawsuit over the summer, and that was really one of the important events that put what we're talking about today in motion.
There's an assumption that we are just going to get the nod at some point. We didn't get it yesterday. We thought we were, but at some point in the future, maybe in the next 24 hours, we might. What changes if we do? I've seen the security Bitcoin run up in anticipation of this, but what actually changes? Are the people sitting on desks that couldn't buy it before that now can because it's a spot Bitcoin ETF?
That's the big debate going on right now, whether this will turn into a sell the news event. To go back to the Bitcoin futures ETF launch, which I keep harping on, that was the ultimate sell the news event. Bitcoin rallied up to $69,000 a coin in anticipation of that. After the launch, we haven't been anywhere close to that. The magnificent run that you've seen in Bitcoin in anticipation of this, a lot of the critics are saying this is going to be the exact same moment. The advocates are saying that this will turn on the wealth channels being able to invest in this.
In 1934, in the depths of the Depression, and then 2 or 3 depressions we had within the Depression, the government decided to set up the SEC so we could buy Anaconda Copper, or Boeing didn't even exist. It was, I think, Douglas Aircraft. And there'd be accounting, and we'd know what was going on. Is there going to be any improvement in the accounting or we know what's going on with Bitcoin? Is there any change here in the process of how we observe the underlying within the ETF?
Well, one of the things that did change, if you think about the applications that have been filed since 2013 and this current round of applicants, is that there are surveillance sharing agreements between the underlying exchange, so Coinbase, and the SEC. So the SEC theoretically will have more insight here. What really started all of this current enthusiasm is BlackRock filing in June for a spot Bitcoin ETF, which took many people by surprise, and they had that feature in there.
Let's say a lot of money comes in, and Eric Balchunas says there's some guesstimates that are maybe overdoing it, but let's say we get a little bit or a level of overdoing it. Does that mean the electric grid in Texas changes because somebody's there going, hey, we got to manufacture more of this, and who cares about the thermodynamics of Bitcoin? We got to make more product. Is that part of this?
I wouldn't go that far in terms of whether this means more supply, if I understand you correctly. I will say...
No one does, but try to make a go of it, Katie.
If you did want to get concerned about the record keeping here, the accounting keeping here, the absolute...
Okay, but is it improved? Thank you. You said it better than me.
Theoretically.
Is the record keeping of the underlying going to be improved with these ETFs?
Theoretically, it would be improved because you have those surveillance sharing agreements. I will say say the worries that I've heard from some people, some of the critics, is that what if you lose your wallet address? What if one of these big issuers loses their digital wallet address? You have
that guy's in the layoffs
you can't
at BlackRock.
find your Bitcoin. Who is liable there? Is it the issuer? Is it the market maker? Who would actually be on the hook for that? Those are some of the behind-the-scenes worries that I've heard about.
It's just amazing. Katie, thank you. Katie Greifeld there of Bloomberg. TK, there's so much to deal with on this issue still.
One quick thing. Is Tom Brady going to come back in and re-endorse an ETF?
I would
to
call
get even?
him up now if I could.
I think his fingers have been burnt on that, haven't they?
Yeah, but
This raises an issue.
Make the money back.
And, you know,
What would
since you
Taylor
brought Katie
do?
back into the conversation, we might as well continue the conversation. There's a feeling, I think, there's a snobbery on Wall Street in certain places that the adults are coming into the room now. It's going to change things. That all the fraud you've seen over the last couple of years, the things like SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, all of those stories, that it's going to be BlackRock now. It's going to be the big players on Wall Street. Does that really change things here?
I will say there is a certain irony here that you think about the original promise of cryptocurrency, sort of getting away from the government, going bankless, et cetera. Now it feels like all of the hopes and dreams have been boiled down to, are we going to get a physically backed spot Bitcoin ETF?
From a large financial institution on Wall Street.
Exactly.
Which is a real shift, Tom, just culturally, from what it was.
John, get the surveillance cork out and put it in my mouth. You know how I feel about this.
Got a box of them. Didn't we used to have a box of them?
Yeah, we have a box here
Got a box
somewhere.
of corks under the desk somewhere.
I will say this. I'm watching what Gary Gensler does. He's a gentleman of integrity. He's made clear how he feels.
It was just a bit embarrassing yesterday. This afternoon, is it going to happen one way or the other?
The idea, the current thinking around the timeline is that these ETFs go effective after the market close today. That could be between 4 and 6 p.m.
Okay.
If that happens, we could see trading start tomorrow.
So look to the SEC website.
Yes.
That's the guide.
We're back
All right.
there.